Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Let's take a quick look here again at Filecoin, see what's going on. We actually took some very healthy profits with this coin. What was it? So here we got AVAX long 33 file. There we go. Filecoin 58% in 3 days for a short that we took roughly I think on the 13th. So it's been about 5 days since that trade's open. So I'm getting the question right now: do we just reverse our order there because we're coming up to a key level support, or do we keep going? The truth is, we don't know. We'll go to find out, though. Quick congrats to as well, AVAX 107, and of course, SEI long 92%. Very profitable weekend for us, even though we didn't take any trades. Okay, and that's the beautiful thing about swing trades. You hit your targets, you let the rest ride, and you just continue to reap the benefits. So kudos again to everybody, and thank you so much for the awesome feedback. Let's take a quick look at the back-end data here for Filecoin. See what's going on. We're going to double check liquidation levels, because oftentimes this does give us some ideas of what the incentive might look like. And we can see there's a lot more liquidation above than below the price action. Not saying that this is any merit to take a trade, but we have more likelihood of the price recovering and continuing up from here to satisfy those liquidation levels versus the price going down lower, because there's not really a lot left. There's like less meat on the bone, so to speak, for a short position. So the truth is, reversing might be a good consideration just from the outside looking in. We'll double check that, of course. It's no guarantee the price just turns itself around too, by the way, when the when there's more liquidation above or below the price action. It's just something that's kind of a little bit more of a something that helps us kind of understand what the general consensus is looking like. Okay, so why don't we look at the daily time frame first, and then we'll get an evaluated decision. Okay, now when we took that short, we were testing the 20-day SMA. Keep in mind we're below that. We have been for about 3 days now, and that is a confirming factor letting us know we haven't broken bearish, but we've broken the bullish trend. Okay, so when you break a bullish trend, I mean, you can pretty much draw a trend line out here and kind of see it. It's pretty clear that the price action broke that ascending trend, and we're going to continue lower. Now we're going to pull this guy out here as well, just kind of keep an eye on that, because once more we want to break this lower high, lower low pattern in order to essentially change the direction. Now that's going to happen on smaller time frames, but the macro here is still positive, but it's not fantastic. In other words, a lot of times the price action will work itself out to something like this, since it drives from the bottom and is going to continue higher. So I think the macro still has potential to jump. We are right here at this 0.786 fib level, as well as just above this most recent support. $8.20 is a very heavy, strong support level based on volume. We had a ton of volume accumulation here at this level before the price took off, and that's just again, it's going to be an area of interest for anybody who sees the price action come to that range. We probably already got a lot of people who feel about the 840 mark. So simply put, while it looks fairly bearish, we are, but we're not. And I'll explain more about that. So RSI under 50, that's a bearish sign. We can see stochastic RSI swinging down as well for the second time, and this downtrend carries more weight than the first. Same thing as well with MACD, diverging. Okay, so we're under 20 on the SMA, and we're below everything else on the indicators and oscillators. So that leads me to believe that further downside is probable. However, it's also contrary here, or less likely, because we have so much support at 820 that it'd be surprising the price broke below that. Okay, again, high amount of volume at that range tells us that. However, look at this volume, slowly tapering off. And as that continues to bleed out, so will the price. Okay, so if we start to see more volume here testing this moving average, there's a good chance we're going to see the price action look like it wants to turn around. But we're kind of basing out or bottoming out here, effectively double bottoming. It doesn't mean the price is just going to shoot up from here, but there's potential with us hitting this support range. Okay, so again, support levels are support until they aren't. Right, we got to kind of trust that they'll continue. I have been shorting at support levels lately, mainly because the overall sentiment is pretty bearish. We've been taking a lot of profits to the downside too. So the truth is, you can still short at supports or resistances depending on the direction you're heading, but you want to have a lot of confirming factors too. So let's see if there's anything else. We're below all moving averages minus the 200, which is so far holding strong at that 860, 850 range, which is essentially a support level, but losing that would be fairly well bearish. We can also see stochastic swinging down. We're below 50 on the RSI. Half the reason why we took our short in the first place, because we dropped below that level. And then we can see here as well, money flow index is kind of teetering right in the 50 range. So that's neither bearish nor bullish, just more so leaning towards the fact that it's still kind of averaging itself out as more likelihood to go down. We also got a MACD divergence here as well. So it's not fully diverged, but it's right on the horizon. Okay. Again, all the more reason why shorting at this level might be, I like to emphasize this, might be advantageous. Okay, I don't like to ever consider shorting as a primary method of trading because it carries more risk. But if there's a lot of contributing factors, such as what we saw on ICP's chart, for example, then we can have more confidence in taking a trade to the downside. Of course, in some cases, but once more, tremendous amount of volume at the 820 mark. Okay, we're not too far away from that. So how much lower could this go? It may not go too much lower. We could just see a simple liquidity sweep and the price just bounces back. Either way, we're not there yet. Let's find out what's going on here in the hourly. We have broken below the cloud. We're about 2 hours in. I generally like to wait for about 3 or 4 hours. ICP has about four candles closing below it, so it feels good. This is getting there. We're lagging spans free and clear, conversion lines below the baseline, reaffirming the fact that we're still bearish. And again, you could have taken a long right here with confirmation, right? Seeing that we're above the cloud, but there was no other confirming factors present. So had you done that, that would have been very premature. Bitcoin is looking very bearish too. If that is the case, Bitcoin's looking bearish, hasn't broken any type of bullish confirming signs here, it might be safe to presume that Filecoin is going to continue lower. So to me, there's a larger statistical probability of the price action continuing lower than it would be higher. Okay? Again, but we're doing all this right into a support level. So notoriously, these support levels can hold and recover and bounce off quickly. Keep in mind though, we do have some more volume here at the 1050 range, so the price does come up. We could see rejection there. We're still below this descending trend line too, of the larger descending trend line, and that's also bearish. But it does not imply the price cannot still shoot up and continue higher before it continues lower. Okay? Keep this in mind. We're looking at about 20% correction up to that resistance level. So the price could very well go on a tear. But is it worth buying support when everything else looks bearish? That's the question you want to ask yourself. If you feel like doing that, then just know you're carrying a larger risk of taking a long versus a short position. Now, do you just short because we have all these confirming factors to the downside? Not necessarily. If you do, though, you want to consider low leverage, low position sizing, and make sure that you're not putting yourself in a position to have a significant loss. Because again, this is a higher risk type of trade if you're going to trade to the downside. We already have ours open. We got like 20% of our portfolio, or 20% of our trades still left open. So I say leave it open. It seems to make more sense. The price can continue lower. There's no guarantees, but a lot of altcoins right now are kind of on the edge of disaster if Bitcoin just goes back down to that 65K range. It's going to happen. It seems like inevitability at this point, and I'm not really, I'm not super confident in Bitcoin just taking off. Yeah, it makes little sense, but again, a lot of manipulations occurring in the market too, so you got to factor that in. Either way, that's kind of where we're at there. I hope that made sense. I described that correctly. I'll update our fibs. I'll send out a playout chart, of course, to our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord, so you can kind of see what that looks like. But just know, patience pays off. This is what patience looks like, folks, where you wait for confirmation. We had 100% last month. We're trending about 90 to 95% this month. We did coincidentally have to close out one trade at a slight loss, and we took one stop loss, but we're still averaging about 90%. But if you can see here, a lot more profit to the upside than the downside last month. This month is kind of shifting that narrative. We're starting to see a lot more profit to the downside than the upside, so it's an interesting little scenario. So anyways, I'm not saying to get on board. You don't want to convince yourself that we're in a bearish market, because we're not. But we're certainly not in a bullish market either. We're in this unique transition with Bitcoin, and transitions take time, and you got to be patient with that. Okay? So please, please, please do that for yourself. Do yourself a favor. If you want to become a better trader too, join over our Discord here. We got a phenomenal group of traders. Thank you again, everybody, for just being an amazing part of my life. We have fantastic traders here. I love to see it. So thanks again so much for the support, and happy to hear this working well for you. We'll see the next one. Very last thing, of course, make sure you trade this coin on Bitunix, phenomenal exchange, link down below. We got a trading contest coming up. Be sure to register for that. You have to use the link down below for that. But if you do, nice benefits await you. We got a really cool little trading competition for our community. Last but not least, if you haven't registered with them, no KYC or VPN required. That's why we use them. They're a fantastic exchange. Just recommend using them. They're really, really cool, and they've been great to us. So thank you for liking the video, subscribing if you haven't already, and we'll see you in the next one. Be sure to have a good rest of your day. Thanks again for your time. Bye-bye.